Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Bet on any track, anywhere, anytime. You bet with Naira Bets.
What are we paying attention to today on Pique My Interest?
Pique my interest, Stephen Peake.
Yeah.
Well, we're here. We're at Churchill Downs.
Yep.
So something
true.
I have been thinking about. I've actually thought about this when I was a kid, and I wanted to ask. You're like the Derby.
I'm the Derby guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Churchill Downs.
As Scoots calls me.
So why in horse racing does the horse get all the glory? Like, we didn't watch a 115-pound dude steer a beast through a stampede at 40 miles per hour and thread the needle, and yet the horse is the hero.
Because the horse is the one who did all the hard work. Now, granted, he needed some help, but
He did. He didn't watch the film. Like, he doesn't have the pressure from the trainer and the owner and all the fans. He has no idea how big of an event this is, of the Derby. Like,
I don't know. You could go a couple different ways with this, Peake. On the flip side, that horse could think that, like, its life is potentially on the line. For all it knows, it better run or else it's going to get caught. It doesn't know what. And I think horses that are racing know that they're running, or so they say. But how do we know? It's a horse. It may be fearful for its life, and that's why it's running.
it could also think it's the fastest way to the bucket of oats.
Potentially. But secondly, the jockey's not getting whipped.
No, that's true. But I did, in preparation for this, I did a little research. I had to look at. I wanted to know what does the jockey have to do, and they actually have to train to like be in step with the horse and they kind of help propel it forward. I didn't realize the jockey makes it faster.
I think we need to decide when a horse wins a race, who deserves the most credit. Is it the horse? Is it the jockey? Is it the trainer?
Ooh.
Is it the owner?
Or all of them. But I'm just saying, like, the stars of the show, like, here's what I think. I think the horse is the equipment, and it's like the only sport where the equipment gets the credit. Like, could you imagine if we did this with anything else? Dale Earnhardt wins a race, and they give the trophy to the car, or like.
But if the car was cute, then they may do that. If the car was like, yo, look at the car, it's got a little tail, it's doing fun things,
I mean,
the car neighed.
Peake is not giving the Wilson Evo Next any credit if the Kentucky Wildcats hit 10 threes in the NCAA tournament.
Brady throws 5 touchdowns, and we build a statue of the football.
I will say, if there is a sport that's similar, it is F1 to horse racing, where the teams that win, yes, you have the best drivers, but it's usually because they have built the best car. They have the best technology behind the car. Similar to this, the jockey does play a part. I saw a jockey walking around this morning wearing one of those old school, like, sweatsuits to make sure that they were staying underweight. They've got to know the program. They've got to know the plan going into it. It's very dangerous. But similarly, like, they might just be on the best horse, and the best horse might be better than the other one. Similar to the fast car is just faster than the other cars.
But here's my point. For horse racing, wouldn't it benefit them to highlight their stars? Like, that would be like a returning star every year instead of having to like learn a new horse. Wouldn't it be better for the sport if they did? Even if the jockey wasn't really the reason, that wouldn't it be smart? And I looked in, and it's interesting too, because I brought this up to my fiance last night, and she said, well, it's racism. And I was like, okay, not everything is racism. but then she sent me an article, the story that they were working on at WHAS 11 back when we worked there. And apparently that was like that's what happened. Like, black jockeys were household names, and then people were like, oh, we can't have that. So they took that away.
Happened
and
in
they
the
said,
20s.
Let's
Yep.
make the horse the star instead of the jockey, and we've never flipped it back.
Well, there is truth to the race of jockeys, and with there's a sudden drop-off from African-American jockeys. The first Kentucky Derby winning jockey was African-American.
13 of the 15
Oliver
jockeys.
Lewis.
But I think the horse has always been very popular in horse racing. Horses in human culture have always been popular.
Revered.
What did they sneak in when they sacked Troy? When they
they snuck it into Troy.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if it was the Trojan. Whatever, regardless, a horse.
Was it
a
in
horse.
Troy?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it wasn't
No.
Troy.
Okay.
It was
I thought
definitely
it was
in Troy.
the Trojans that sent it to
Because they called it the
Greeks.
Trojan horse.
Because they were like, the Trojans sent us this horse.
We failed our Greek mythology classes, even though that was.
Regardless, though, like even in
Shout
wars,
Iliad.
it's like the great. I think Alexander the Great, its horse's name.
Oh,
which
it
I
was
don't
used
know.
by the Greeks.
It was used by the Greeks to sack Troy.
Gotcha.
There we
Okay,
go.
well that makes sense.
Wow,
too.
we should not call it the Trojan horse then.
People have always liked horses.
The Greek horse.
No, and I get that, but my point is that again, you mentioned the race car thing. The drivers are the stars.
Free
Yep.
your mind.
I do think that some of, when you talk about propping up individuals, some of it is there's not necessarily a language barrier, but it's easier to prop up some of these guys who just are better sound bites.
Okay.
Like Brian Hernandez was a great soundbite last year after he won the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
But a lot of it goes back to college basketball is a sport that is about the coaches.
The coaches, right.
Horse
right.
racing's like that with trainers. Some of it is they are around for so long, and some of it is just because they're good and you're reliable. Whereas, like, Irad Ortiz, like, he can get on bad horses. Like, jockeys on undercards, sometimes they just need them out to try to make some money because they're going to make money whether they're like they need the money whether they win or not. Whereas the trainers are making their money based off their win, and that's why from a gambling aspect, I rely more on trainers because the owners will give their best horses to the best trainers. Brad Cox, some of it's because he's from Louisville, TJ, but Godolphin and Juddmonte, they got a ton of money, and they're sending all of their expensive horses to Brad Cox. So that's the other part of this.
What about how does it work? How do you assign the jockey? Does the trainer owner
The owner.
Okay, the owner picks the
The owner
jockey?
basically hires the jockey.
Yes, but also the trainer has like preferences. Like Flojo will ride a lot for Brad. Luis Saez
Well,
has
a
ridden
lot of
for
owners
Brad.
will just say trainer. You're
Like-
you're overseeing the operations, in which case you're exactly right.
I would say if there is a Mike Rapoli horse, there is a 95% chance that 99% chance that Todd Pletcher's the trainer, and a 90% chance that Irad Ortiz is going to be the jockey for it. That's a good combination.
So how much of it? Because you have guys like Pat Day, Mike Smith.
He's a big favorite. Yeah.
Mike Smith. Didn't he win with the
He won
50-1 odds?
He won with Giacomo, and he also won with the favorite Justify. And this
Okay.
year, Mike Smith is attempting to become the oldest jockey to win the Kentucky Derby. He's 59 years young. The record currently held by Bill Schumacher, who was aboard Ferdinand in 1986.
Now, shouldn't I
Mike
know
Smith
his
will
name
be-
without having to Google who the best jockeys are? Like, I live in Louisville. I'm around this. Why do I know the horses? Why didn't I know him? But just because I'm an idiot? Is that the only reason?
I mean, Mike Smith's one you should probably know.
It's a very general name, and maybe that's why I don't. But
Yeah.
I know Pat Day, Victor Espinoza.
Okay, yeah. Do you know Johnny V?
Brian Hernandez.
No.
Yeah, Brian Hernandez.
These are other
Jr.,
names I should know.
Oaks and Derby winner last year. And that was one, like, when you win the Derby, you do reach a new level.
It's true, yeah.
Some of the other, it's like,
And then when you start to stack them, that's when you.
I don't think any of the Ortiz brothers have won a Derby, and they are considered the creme de la creme, Irad and Jose.
All right,
They're at
well,
the top of their game
let's
right
all
now.
put it to a vote, though. Who deserves the most credit when a horse wins a race?
I'm going with the horse.
Well, I mean, yeah, without a fast horse, you're not gonna. But I think there is strategy involved in it. The jockeys are, correct me if I'm wrong. You know more than I do, but they are watching film. They are analyzing all the data. I'm sure there's like a Bartovic of horse racing
There
that
is.
they're looking
there's Bayer.
at.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
all the different ones. I also would say it's a talking point amongst horse players, rider versus trainer.
Okay.
Which one matters more?
Yeah.
Because I think all of us would probably give the horse the most credit. Part of the reason
Just like
there's
I
not
would
as much,
give the Chevy the most credit in the NASCAR race.
but
or
the
whoever
reason
wins.
why the horses don't become stars is because they're more valuable for breeding, and that's a conversation for another day.
My power rankings are 1 horse, 2 jockey, 3 owner,
Oh, wow.
4 trainer.
Trainer,
The
way back.
humble owner doesn't get nearly enough credit in today's society, but who identified the talent?
I'm
The
taking
really rich person.
trainer, jockey, owner with horse, of course, first. Even
You're
though
going trainer over jockey.
when trainer, like a lot of it is Like, I think a jockey can be the biggest difference maker in a particular race. Like, Mystic Dan did not win because of McPeake. It was Brian Hernandez's ride. But I think most of the time, on any given race day, the trainer puts the horse in the best position to win. Like, that jockey that last race where the 7 ran away, that jockey didn't have to do much work, right? Like that, I'm giving a lot of credit to the trainer for that one, to get that horse ready to roll in that maiden.
But in a
would be a
20-horse field, like feels like there's a little bit more strategy. There's been races
a lot more strategy.
where a guy,
the jockey, I think, matters a lot more in that regard.
He's being patient, waiting to make his move. We've seen that happen before.
I think you could
where's
also
the Victor Espinoza statue at, is what I'm saying. Why, we got a Pat Day one out here. Where's
We got to win another one, Victor E.
Okay, so you got to win at least 2.
Man, he should have gone by Victor E. Like, that's perfect for
Victory.
Exactly.
Wow.
Oh my
What was he
God!
Fired
thinking?
his agent yesterday.
What were you doing? And he might.
All right, we call trademark.
Retired.
Trademark. Oh, he's already retired.
I think so. Yeah. One back-to-back.
Has there ever
derbies,
been a jockey featured on like a Wheaties box or something of that?
Calvin
equivalent?
Burrell was really popular until
there was a little bit of controversy too. That was made
some of
it
their
fun.
arrests. Until he sunk the bell of Louisville.
We had. I remember specifically Victor Espinoza make an appearance on the Tonight Show, and he ran a stick horse race on it, which felt a little demeaning, if I'm not going to lie.
Have you ever talked to a trainer or owner about the horse's experience? Like, do they know that they're ahead of the other horses? Like, do they know that they need to be ahead of the other horses?
I think they have a good idea, especially in more of the day-to-day operations. Like the Derby, everybody, it's kind of like SEC coaches with their poker face on, where it's coach speak and everybody thinks they're moving forward. But I think in the day-to-day, they have a better idea of, I like my horse over this one, or, Todd doesn't think this horse is ready, is where maybe we have ours.
It's not mentally ready. He hasn't gone through the game plan yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's and that's kind of what I was getting at with, okay, we have a Pat Day statue. We put up statues of horses, and I get that. I've never recognized a horse.